Hi there YouTube friends, Carlos Yiaourtopita, and welcome back to Mom's Greek Kitchen, the channel where I teach you my mom's Greek recipes in her memory. I know I've been away for a bit, I haven't uploaded anything recently. We've done some home renos, so that took some time, and then Greek Easter, Pascha happened. So things have been a little bit busy, but I'm back, and today we're making another dessert. We're doing a cake. We're doing Yiaourtopita. Yes, another long name. Yiaourtopita. Yiaourti is yogurt, and pita is a cake or a flat baked thing. So yogurt cake, basically. It's not very common as far as I know. I think Mom is the only one I ever had this from. You don't see it in bakeries, all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if it's unique to the little town she grew up in, or if it's unique to the area that she grew up in. But anyway, I enjoy it. It was always a hit in our house. It's another cake that's moistened with syrup. Greeks don't tend to do icing or frosting, they tend to do syrup. It's got a very delicate flavor. It's a very light pale cake, except for the top and bottom, which are very dark. So it's actually quite a striking looking cake. And Mom always made it in a 14-inch round baking pan like this. And this is the one she had, so this is the one I'm going to use today. So it's 14 inches round, or diameter, sorry, by about 2 inches high. I think these are used like for wedding cakes, but this is what Mom tended to bake a lot of her cakes in. So her recipe is scaled for this, which I think would be a little big on a 9x13, so you may want to cut it down. I've never actually done it. I always bake it in this, and yeah, so pretty simple, a basic cake with a syrup. So let's go into the kitchen and I'll show you how we put it together. See you soon. Alright, since we're baking a cake or a dessert with syrup, we're going to cook our syrup first, because we like to have one of them cold and the other one hot. And since the cake or dessert comes out of the oven hot, it's usually good to have your syrup cold. So I'm going to start with my syrup here. I've got 2.5 cups of white sugar and 2.5 cups of water. So a simple syrup. Equal parts sugar and water makes what is called a simple syrup. I'm going to put it on the stove and I'm going to bring it to a boil, stirring while it's in that process. And once it comes to the boil, I'm not going to stir it again, because that can crystallize or help promote crystallization. So we're just going to boil it for about 5 minutes, turn it off, and let it cool. Alright, I'll be back with the next step. Alright, we're ready to start our Yiaourtopita, our yogurt cake. In my bowl here, I have 3 cups of white sugar and 1 pound of unsalted butter at room temperature. And I'm going to cream these together. Okay, that's not working very well. I need a bigger bowl. Alright, we needed a deeper bowl. That was a little bit messy. Okay, we've creamed our butter and sugar together. We're now going to add 8 egg yolks. We've got the whites separated because we're going to use them later. And we're going to beat that into our mixture, and we're going to beat to a ribbon. beat our egg yolks into our butter and sugar mixture. And now we're going to add our star of the show, the name of the show, the yogurt. So in my bowl here I have 3 cups of plain yogurt. You can use regular yogurt for this. You don't really need Greek yogurt. It'll probably make the batter a little too stiff. So 3 cups plain yogurt, and now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Stir it into the yogurt quickly, which will start to foam because of the action of the baking soda. And then we will add that mixture. We'll beat that into our butter mixture here. Okay? Just turn off my syrup there so it doesn't boil over. Alright, so now we're going to add our baking soda into our yogurt. Give it a stir. I don't know if you can see it, but it's growing. Alright, let's add that to our butter mixture here. So the baking soda neutralizes the tang from the yogurt, but leaves the flavor behind. So we're not going to have too tangy a cake. And it will help a little bit with leavening, but it's also got baking powder, which will do the majority of it. So give this a whisk now. I'm going to scrape down the sides, make sure that nothing's stuck to the walls of the bowl and the bottom. We don't want lumps. Okay. Here in my bowl I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 3 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm going to give that a quick whisk. And we're going to beat that into our batter so far. Let's move that out of the way. Alright, and we're just going to add half and half so we don't make a cloud of flour everywhere. And the other half. Alright, there's our batter. We have one more step. Actually, 2 more steps. The first one is I am going to spray my pan with non-stick spray. You probably don't have to because it has a syrup which will loosen it from the pan, but just for a little safety there. And the next step is to whip our egg whites. So I've got our 8 egg whites that we had from the egg yolks. So I'm going to put them in a bowl. And here I have the juice of half of a lemon. And we're going to switch machines so I don't have to wash in the meantime. And let's whip our eggs. What's going on here? Alright, I keep picking the wrong instruments, I see. Alright, I will be back. Alright, let's do that again. Let's see where we are. So you want soft peaks. You don't want to go to dry peaks because it's hard to stir into or fold into the batter. There we are. See? Soft peak. You get it sticks out, but then it bends over. That's a soft peak. If it was a firm peak, it would be sticking straight out. All right. So now we just need to fold in our egg whites into our batter. So we add a third or so, and we just mix that in. Don't worry about folding and all that kind of stuff. You always sacrifice a little bit of the egg whites to lighten the batter, as they say. There we are, and now we add the rest of our beaten egg whites. And now we want to be a little bit more gentle when we're adding it, folding it in. Alright, and the easiest way that I know is just to go underneath and keep turning your bowl. You can go down through the middle if you like, but if you just keep turning your bowl and basically scooping around underneath and then over, you will get the least amount of breakage. Takes a little longer, but it's more gentle. This part is easier with a slightly shallower bowl, but this will work. Alright, I don't see any streaks of white, so we are good. So now we're just going to pour our batter into our prepared baking pan. Like I said, you probably don't have to even butter it or grease it, but just for safety's sake. So my oven is preheated to 375 degrees. My rack is in the bottom third to middle, depending on your oven. Spread it out a little bit, get it nice and even. Make sure your hands are impeccably clean. Okay, now if you spin it, you will get it coming up the sides, which will counter the bubble that you'll get in the middle, a hump. Another way to do that is if you have baking bands, which you soak in cold water first, and then you put around the baking pan. But that little spin trick will actually do pretty good for this one. So I am now going to put it in the oven and bake it at 375. If I remember correctly, it takes about an hour, but I will give you a more precise measurement of time when I come back with the next step. All right, see you soon. All right, there is our Yiaourtopita. Straight out of the oven. It bounces back. You can use the toothpick test if you'd like. It's a nice deep gold brown. We're now going to add the syrup, which is cold or room temperature. I like to pour it over a spoon because sometimes when you pour the syrup it will damage the skin of the dessert. But just basically just start pouring the syrup all over. So that took exactly 55 minutes at 375 degrees. Now your oven may vary, so just watch it. Alright, there's our syrup. So now the hardest part, waiting for it to cool down. So I will be cutting this tomorrow and I will show you guys what it looks like then. My island is a little off kilter, so I want to make sure it goes everywhere evenly. Alright, so I will be back when it's at room temperature and we will cut into it and have a taste test. You can serve it slightly warm. The flavor is quite a bit stronger, a little tangier. I prefer it room temperature or even cold. But that's up to you. You can try it both ways. Let it soak for at least 2 hours so that the syrup has a chance to permeate all the way through. You will note that when you finally cut it, the syrup will be heavier on the bottom side, so the bottom of the dessert is a little denser and the top is a little lighter. I always like the bottom part and my sister always liked the top part. So sometimes we traded. One would eat half and the other one would eat the other half. It just depends on who you are. I tend to like creamier, heavier, soggier kind of things. So for me, that's always the bottom of the Yiaourtopita. Alright, so I will be back when it's time to show you the how to cut it and how to serve it. Alright, we are back. I apologize for the light quality, but we're still doing a few renovations and we took the big light fixture down without my knowledge. Anyway, I'm going to cut into this now and pull out a piece for us. So Mom used to cut it into diamonds like she cut pretty much everything else. Now the first piece, of course, is the hardest to get out. But there is our piece of delectable, or sorry, wrong dessert, Yiaourtopita. So as you can see on the bottom, it's a little more dense. I don't know if you can, camera will pick this up. A little more dense and a little bit wetter, and on top it's a little fluffier and drier. So there's our piece. So as you know, I'm still on a diet, so my honey's gonna do the taste testing for us. He has never had this before, so we're gonna get an original opinion here. Don't spit it out. What do you think?
I like this one.
You like it? Yeah, it was Mom used to make it quite often when we were kids, and I don't know anybody else who makes it actually. So I don't know if it was particular to where she grew up or what. But anyway.
Delicious.
All right, so that is our Yiaourtopita. As you saw, it was pretty easy. It makes a lot. It keeps quite well. It doesn't need to be refrigerated for, it probably can be out at room temperature covered so it doesn't dry out for 3-4 days, and then it keeps about at least a week in the refrigerator. So like a lot of the ones Mom used to do, it doesn't really require refrigeration. So I hope you try it. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Let your friends know. Give me that thumbs up because it really helps. And I will see you with the next recipe. Bye-bye.